Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Too much? No? Okay. Last month, I was fortunate enough to return back to my alma mater, Ringling College of Art and Design, to share a project that I was so honored to be a part of, which was the documentary called Straight Curve Film. The film was directed by the wonderful Jenny McQuail. It was almost an all-woman crew, and it basically is a documentary that kind of shows the impact that exclusive media and fashion imagery has had on women and girls. It also addresses some of the misconceptions about weight and health. It proposes some solutions on how we can move forward, how we can change the fashion industry. It's probably the project I'm most proud of having participated in, so to bring it back to my alma mater was such an honor for me. As a photographer, I had a responsibility, and responsibility was to be very conscious about the type of people I was putting in front of my camera, because I more than anyone understood the effect that this imagery can have on people and does have on people, because I grew up hating myself. My body and the way I felt about myself has been at the forefront of my entire experience. And it's because of those imagery, that imagery, it's because I never saw myself. So I got involved with the film because I've been shooting this stuff for the last 9 years. And we're really only starting to see this movement take forefront in the media over the last 3 years. So it's been a long time of us chipping away at this. We've been pushing for this type of inclusive imagery for a long time, not just myself, but many of the women in the film. I'm sure most of you are familiar with Ashley Graham. She's been modeling for 15 years. 15 years, and is only just now getting the recognition that she deserves. You know, Iskra Lawrence, 12 years, Jenny Runk, 12 years, Denise Bidot, 12 years. We've been working on this for a long time, and it's just now starting to take motion. So I think when they were casting for the film, you know, a lot of photographers refused to shoot plus-size models for a very long time because they were afraid it would dilute their body of work. And it was kind of like, I don't want to shoot those women. And I never shied away from that. In fact, I leaned into that. So I think I just made the most sense for telling this story because I was the only one telling the story, and it was also my story. But when I was in school, I didn't think about telling my own story. You know, I didn't think about diverse representation. I just wanted to be a fashion photographer. And because fashion photography has always looked a certain way, I kind of assumed that to be successful, I had to shoot a certain type of woman. And I didn't even question that, which is crazy because that woman wasn't me, wasn't my friends, wasn't my family. But I didn't even think about that. You know, I just wanted to be a fashion photographer.
Being in a male-dominated profession of fashion photography, how do you think, what is your intention in your voice, your photos, your images, and are you finding more support?
My goal as an image maker has always been to create images that will empower women. You know, no broken dolls, no women laying on the floor, no weird sexualization, no awkward posing. I want women to look at my images and I want them to see a woman standing in her power. And I want them to see a woman that doesn't look broken and doesn't look anything but incredible. And I didn't see that, you know, and I think it's so important. I think women are amazing. We are amazing. And imagery has not portrayed that. So my goal, you know, has always been make sure that when a woman sees this image, it hits her in like, wow, strength, you know?
Yeah. What is your advice to young artists? So if, you know, how do you inspire them and what do you tell them to further move into their career?
Do the work. And that means that we all have social programming, even those of us who think that we don't. And I've said this in class yesterday, so if some of you are rehearing that, I'm sorry. But I hear artists a lot, and not just photographers, artists across the board. When you ask them about their work, they're like, oh, well, these are just my artistic impulses. And it's like, okay, that's cute, but where are they coming from? What these women that you're uplifting, or men, or these subjects, people that you're putting in your paintings and in your sculptures and in your animations, why are they the people that you chose? Because when I look across mediums, I do not see representation. And so it's like, these are your impulses and your instincts, but why? Where did they come from? And are you even thinking about that? Are you reflected in the media you're creating? Probably not. Right? Is it because you feel like to be successful, you need to tell a certain story? I can tell you firsthand that I became more successful when I started telling my own story, when I started speaking my own truth. There is so much power in telling your story, and people are desperate to hear it because so many of us move through life feeling isolated. We think we're the only ones having our experiences, we're the only ones having those dark thoughts about ourselves, and the truth is that we're not. The truth is that if we were communicating our stories and talking about our experiences, we would see that we all have a common thread and that our experiences are more alike than not, and that is so powerful.
Going back, what would you say to your younger self, being where you are now? What advice would you give to you?
Oh, I guess I would encourage myself to come to this realization sooner. I'm like upset with myself that it took so long. Living the life that I led in terms of my experiences being a plus size girl and woman. I wish I would have done the work sooner. But the reality was that when I was in school, no one was having these conversations. We were talking about stereotypes and things like that, but I wasn't looking at them from my own, how have I been placed? And so I wish that I would have started that earlier and that I would have really taken the time to look within myself sooner. But at the same time, I believe that we all come to our truths in our own time, when we're ready to receive them. So,
Yeah.
I kind of respect the process. And there you have it. A small sampling from the panel that I did at my alma mater. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't seen Straight Curve, I just can't recommend it enough. Has nothing to do with the fact that I'm in it. Even if I wasn't, I would still think that the film was an incredible and beautiful and important piece of work. I have to end this by saying thank you to a few people, namely Ringling College of Art and Design for having me, Susan Borazan for organizing the event, Jenny McQuail and Jess Lewis over at Straight Curve, and a few other people that I will name in a slide following this. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.